Good day, everyone, and welcome. I am Maria Cristina C. La Casa, NP, and I will be your instructor for today. I am excited to start this journey with you as we explore the fascinating world of maps and mapping. On this first slide, you'll see the title of our presentation, Maps and Mapping, which is the main focus of our session. We'll be discussing the fundamentals of maps, different types of mapping techniques, and their importance in various fields. I promise to keep things engaging and informative as we go along. So, let's get started and dive into the world of maps. Hello, everyone. For this slide, we're focusing on profiling, which is a crucial step in understanding our target audience or the subjects of our study. Here, our team members, Orhia Karanagan, Glorable Codillo, Lisa Gajarana, and Rovlin Adano, have worked together to gather and analyze data that paint a clear picture of who we're dealing with. Profiling helps us identify key characteristics, behaviors, and preferences that inform our decisions moving forward. Now, moving on to maps and mapping. This is where spatial understanding comes into play. Maps allow us to visualize data geographically, making it easier to see patterns and relationships that might not be obvious otherwise. Whether we're tracking locations, resources, or movement, mapping brings clarity and depth to our analysis. Connecting these ideas to the overall theme, both profiling and mapping are essential tools in creating a comprehensive view of our subject matter. They help us make informed, strategic choices based on solid data and visual insights. So, as we proceed, keep in mind how these methods support our goal of a well-rounded, thorough understanding. On this slide, we're focusing on two important profiles, the socioeconomic profile, or SEP, and the ecological profile. The SEP serves as a basic reference point, giving us a comprehensive overview of various aspects of a locality. Think of it as a snapshot that includes factors like income levels, education, employment, and community safety. These elements help us understand the social and economic fabric of the area. Now, the ecological profile takes things a step further by merging the socioeconomic data with biophysical information about the area. It treats these subjects equally, recognizing that social and environmental factors are interconnected and both crucial for a complete understanding of the study area. Together, these profiles, the socioeconomic profile and the ecological profile, provide a holistic view. They help us see how social, economic, and environmental elements interact, which is essential for making informed decisions and planning sustainable interventions. This integrated approach aligns with our overall goal of understanding and improving the locality comprehensively. So this slide focuses on how we can help the LGU, or local government unit, to better understand its current situation. First, we want to determine the current level of services that are being provided to their constituents. This means assessing what the community is receiving right now in terms of public services and infrastructure. Next, we look at the resources available to the LGU. These include financial resources, human resources, and other assets that can be utilized to improve or sustain services. Knowing what they have at their disposal is crucial for planning effectively. Then, we consider environmental factors. These are the external elements that could influence or shape policy decisions. These factors might include ecological conditions, climate change impacts, or other environmental issues that could prompt changes in policies or programs. It's also important to recognize that these environmental factors are expected to bring about specific changes in policy. Understanding this connection helps the LGU to anticipate and adapt to environmental challenges proactively. Finally, I want to highlight the importance of developing an ecological profile. This profile provides a comprehensive view of the local environment, which is essential because it directly informs the policies we craft. An ecological profile helps ensure that policies are sustainable, effective, and aligned with the community's ecological realities. So, in essence, by understanding the current services, available resources, and environmental influences, the LGU can make informed decisions that better serve their constituents while also protecting and preserving their environment. Let's take a closer look at inventories. Inventories refer to all the items, goods, merchandise, and materials that a business holds with the goal of selling them in the market to earn a profit. Essentially, these are the products or resources that a company keeps on hand to meet customer demand and generate revenue. Understanding inventories is crucial because they directly impact a company's sales and profitability. Moving on to surveys. Surveys are a method of gathering information from a group of individuals by asking them questions. This is a common way to collect data that can inform decision-making. Surveys can be conducted in various ways, through paper and pencil, online forms, over the phone, or face-to-face interviews. The key here is that surveys help us understand people's opinions, behaviors, or preferences, which can be valuable for many aspects of business and research. Next, we have the census. A census is an enumeration of people, houses, firms, or other important items in a country or region at a specific point in time. It's a comprehensive collection of data that provides a snapshot of the population and various attributes. Censuses are essential for government planning, resource allocation, and understanding demographic trends. Finally, let's briefly touch on possible sources of data. These include inventories, surveys, and censuses, among others. Each source provides different types of information, and choosing the right one depends on the specific needs of your research or business analysis. Connecting these concepts, it's clear that reliable data collection methods are fundamental to making informed decisions, whether you're managing inventories, understanding your market, or analyzing population trends. Now, let's take a closer look at the Community-Based Monitoring System, or CBMS. This system is designed to help us formulate appropriate responses to various community problems by gathering and analyzing local data. It empowers communities to identify their needs accurately and craft targeted solutions. Next, we have the Local Governance Performance Monitoring System, or LGPMS. Think of this as a self-assessment tool for local governments. It allows them to evaluate their own capabilities and limitations in delivering essential public services. This way, local governments can identify areas for improvement and develop strategies to enhance their performance. Both of these systems are crucial tools in our overall effort to improve governance and service delivery. They help ensure that responses are data-driven and tailored to actual community needs. As for possible sources of data, they can come from various channels: surveys, administrative records, community feedback, and even direct observations. These sources provide the information needed to make informed decisions and track progress over time. In essence, both CBMS and LGPMS are about turning data into insights that enable us to serve our communities better and strengthen local governance. Now, let's take a closer look at the 5 key development sectors that are crucial for our overall progress. First, we have the local economy, which is the backbone of community growth and sustainability. Strengthening local businesses and creating job opportunities are essential for improving living standards. Next is environmental management, where we focus on protecting our natural resources and ensuring sustainable use of our environment. This is vital not only for our health, but also for maintaining the ecological balance. Infrastructure is another critical sector, building and maintaining roads, utilities, and facilities to support daily life and economic activities. Then, we have local institutional development, which involves empowering local institutions and governance structures to effectively serve our community's needs. Lastly, population and social services are fundamental for ensuring access to quality education, healthcare, and social support systems. Connecting all these sectors, the ecological profile helps us understand how these elements interact with our environment, guiding us to make informed decisions that promote sustainable development across all areas. Let's talk about infrastructures. Infrastructures are essentially the basic facilities and systems that serve a country, a business, a region, or a community. They form the backbone of how a society functions and how well it can develop. For example, think about roads and buildings. They're crucial for transportation and shelter. Power supply is essential to keep everything running, from homes to factories. Sewage and water systems are vital for public health and sanitation, ensuring clean water and waste management. Schools are also a key part of infrastructure because they support education and long-term community growth. When we look at ecological profiles, understanding the state of these infrastructures helps us gauge how sustainable and resilient a community is. Good infrastructure supports not just daily life, but also economic stability and environmental health. So, in the broader context of ecological profiles, infrastructure is a fundamental component that reflects a region's capacity to thrive and adapt to changing conditions. Let's take a closer look at this sample table focused on infrastructure. As you can see, the table is structured to give us a clear overview of different infrastructure components. It's a simple but effective way to organize information, making it easier to analyze and compare key elements. This kind of table helps us identify where our strengths and gaps are, and it's a useful tool for strategic planning. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how infrastructure plays a vital role in supporting the overall system, ensuring efficiency and resilience. By highlighting these key points here, I want to emphasize that understanding infrastructure details is essential for making informed decisions that align with our broader goals. When we talk about local institutional capability, we're really focusing on the institution's ability and competence. This means how well it can carry out its mandated operations. It's not just about doing things, but doing them effectively to produce the desired outcomes. To do this, an institution needs to deploy the necessary resources, whether that's human resources, financial assets, or technological tools. But it's not just about having these resources. They need to be used within an appropriate structural context. That means the right organizational setup, policies, and systems are in place to support efficient and effective operations. This concept is crucial because it links directly to the overall theme of strengthening institutions. When local institutions have strong capabilities, they are better equipped to serve their communities, implement policies, and adapt to changing needs. So, building local institutional capability is really about empowering these organizations to do their best work within a solid framework that supports sustainable development and good governance. Let's take a closer look at an example: the organizational structure of the LGU. This slide highlights the importance of institutional capability at the local government level. When we talk about institutional capability, we're referring to how effectively an LGU is organized to deliver services, implement policies, and respond to community needs. A well-structured organization ensures clear roles and responsibilities, which in turn promotes efficiency and accountability. You'll notice that this structure forms the backbone of local governance, enabling the LGU to function smoothly and meet its development goals. Throughout our discussion, keep in mind that strengthening this structure is key to enhancing overall institutional capacity, which is vital for sustainable local development. Let's take a moment to look at the concepts of population and social services. When we talk about population, we're referring to a distinct group of individuals who share common characteristics, such as citizenship, identity, or other traits. Essentially, it's about the people that make up a community or society. Now, social services are the support systems provided by the government to benefit the community as a whole. These include essential services like education, medical care, and housing. They play a crucial role in ensuring that the needs of the population are met and that everyone has access to basic resources. Connecting these ideas to the overall theme, understanding the population helps us see who we are serving, and social services are how we support and improve their quality of life. Together, these concepts highlight the importance of community-focused policies and programs that aim to uplift and sustain society. Let's take a closer look at population and demography. As we discuss this, it's important to note that the historical growth of our population can be reliably obtained from the Philippine Statistics Authority. Understanding how our population has changed over time helps us grasp the bigger picture of our country's development. Moving on, the size and composition of our population directly impact the social services available to us. When we talk about social services, key areas include health, education, and housing. These services are essential in supporting the well-being of our people and ensuring that everyone has access to basic needs. For example, a growing population means more demand for healthcare facilities and personnel, while also highlighting the importance of improving our educational infrastructure to support a larger, more diverse student body. Similarly, housing needs evolve as our population increases, requiring innovative solutions to provide safe and affordable homes. So, in summary, understanding population trends helps us plan and improve our social services effectively, ensuring that they meet the needs of our people now and in the future. This interconnectedness between population growth and social services is a vital part of our overall development journey. Today, I want to talk about the importance of maps and mapping in our work. As we've discussed throughout this presentation, understanding spatial relationships is crucial for effective decision-making. Maps serve as visual tools that help us see patterns, analyze data, and communicate complex information clearly. They're not just about geography, they're about context, connections, and insights. Mapping allows us to organize information in a way that's intuitive and accessible. Whether we're tracking resource distribution, planning routes, or analyzing demographic trends, good maps bring clarity. They help us identify relationships that might not be obvious otherwise, making our strategies more informed and targeted. Ultimately, maps are powerful tools that connect data to real-world applications. They enable us to visualize our environment, understand it better, and make smarter choices. This is why mastering the art of mapping is so essential to the overall theme of this presentation, using spatial awareness to enhance our work and impact. A transect walk is really a practical tool that helps us describe and understand the landscape around us. It allows us to identify and show the locations and distribution of resources, features, and land uses along a specific path or line, which we call a transect. By walking along this line, we can observe how different elements are arranged and how they change from one point to another. This method is especially useful for visualizing the landscape in a way that's easy to communicate and analyze. It ties into our overall goal of understanding land use and resource management by providing a clear, on-the-ground perspective of the environment. On this slide, we're focusing on understanding the complex relationships among various environmental and human factors. We're looking at how topography, soils, natural vegetation, cultivation, and other activities influence each other and shape where people settle and how they develop the land. By analyzing these cause-and-effect relationships, we can better grasp why certain patterns emerge in different areas. We also want to identify the major problems and opportunities that different local groups see along the transect. Different communities might perceive issues differently depending on their experiences and needs, so understanding these perspectives is crucial. So, what can this analysis be used for? Well, it helps us make informed decisions about land use, resource management, and development planning. It provides a clearer picture of the challenges and potentials in the area, guiding us towards sustainable solutions that respect both the environment and local communities. Ultimately, this approach connects the physical landscape with human activity, giving us a comprehensive understanding of the area and supporting better planning for the future. So, on this slide, we're focusing on how understanding local technology and practices plays a crucial role in our work. By learning about the specific tools and methods used in a community, we can better tailor our approaches and solutions. This knowledge becomes a valuable tool when it comes to site selection, helping us identify the most suitable locations based on local capabilities and resources. Additionally, it allows us to triangulate data collected through other tools, meaning we can cross-verify information from different sources to ensure accuracy and reliability. So, what can this be used for? Essentially, it helps us make more informed decisions, ensuring our interventions are aligned with local realities. It enhances our overall planning and execution, making our efforts more effective and sustainable. This approach ties into our broader goal of integrating local insights into every stage of our work, reinforcing the importance of context-specific strategies. Let's take a closer look at the various aspects that shape our villages and urban communities. When we talk about natural resources, we're referring to the land, water, forests, and minerals that communities rely on for their livelihood. Present land use and vegetation patterns tell us how land is being utilized, whether for agriculture, housing, or conservation, and how this influences local ecosystems. Changes in physical features, such as river courses or terrain, often result from human activity or natural processes and can significantly impact agriculture and settlement patterns. Cropping systems evolve over time, adapting to climate, market demands, and technological advancements, reflecting the dynamic nature of rural life. Moving to urban areas, public resources like parks, transportation, and public services play a crucial role in shaping community life. Land use in cities often reflects economic priorities and planning decisions, which can lead to social differentiation, meaning disparities in wealth, access, and opportunities. Mobility in urban communities is also vital. It influences how people access resources, jobs, and social networks. So, what does all this tell us? It highlights how both natural and human factors interact to shape our environments, influence social structures, and drive change in both villages and cities. Understanding these interconnected elements helps us see the broader patterns of development, resource management, and social dynamics in our society. On this slide, we're looking at some really useful tools that can help us understand and engage with the community more effectively. First, there's the Community Resource Map, which visually shows us where key services, organizations, and support systems are located within the community. This helps us identify gaps and opportunities for collaboration. Next, we have social mapping, a technique that helps us understand the relationships and networks among community members and groups. It's a great way to see who is connected to whom and where there might be influential leaders or hidden assets. The timeline is another important tool. It allows us to track events, changes, or developments over time. This can be particularly useful for planning interventions or understanding how certain issues have evolved. And then there's the seasonal calendar, which highlights how activities, needs, or resources fluctuate throughout the year. Recognizing these seasonal patterns helps us plan more effectively and align our efforts with the community's natural cycles. All of these tools, complementary to each other, provide a comprehensive picture of the community. They help us make informed decisions, foster stronger connections, and ultimately support more sustainable and responsive programs. Remember, the key is to use these tools together to deepen our understanding and ensure that our interventions are rooted in the community's real context. Let's take a closer look at this key element. This simple tool is designed to be easily adopted and replicated at the community level, which is a major advantage. It involves outdoor activities, so it encourages active participation in the field. Participants will engage in on-field observation, which helps gather first-hand information. Discussions are also a core part of the process, allowing community members to share insights and perspectives. Additionally, diagramming is used to visualize findings and facilitate understanding. Moving on to the data and information aspect, the Transect Walk is primarily an information-gathering exercise. What's important here is that it doesn't require much prior information, just some guidance from key informants. These informants help identify the best routes for the transect lines and assist in purposively selecting local analysts. This approach ensures that the process is efficient and grounded in local knowledge, making it both practical and relevant. Overall, this tool is straightforward, participatory, and flexible, making it a valuable method for community-based assessments. It emphasizes active engagement and local expertise, which are crucial for sustainable and meaningful results. This slide highlights some important points about the tool we're discussing. First, it's designed to focus only on the observable situation and features at a given moment. Think of it as an entry point, something that helps us start a deeper analysis. It's not meant to give us the full picture right away, but rather to serve as a useful initial step. Now, moving to the limitations. It's crucial to understand what this tool can and cannot do. For example, regarding costs, Implementing this as part of a participatory study can range from about $30,000 to $100,000. The variability depends on how many communities you want to include and how broad your geographical scope is. So, budget considerations are definitely something to keep in mind. On the financial side, you'll need to allocate funds for this investment. As for the time required, it typically takes between 2 to 3 hours to use the tool effectively. That's a relatively short time, making it practical for many situations. In terms of skills, it's important that whoever facilitates this process has good participatory facilitation skills and a solid understanding of the context. No special software is needed, just the facilitator and the participants. Overall, this slide emphasizes that while the tool is accessible and straightforward, its scope is limited to observable features, and it requires some investment in time, money, and facilitation skills. It's a valuable starting point, but it's just one piece in a larger analytical process. Let's talk about the time, materials, and skills needed for this part of the process. Typically, you should set aside about 2 to 3 hours to conduct a transect walk, produce a transect diagram, and then analyze it thoroughly with local analysts. This allows enough time for observation, drawing, and discussion. In larger areas, where a transect walk might take longer, say 4 hours or more, it can be practical to divide the area into smaller segments. These segments can be surveyed separately and then combined later to get a complete picture. It's also a good idea to ask the local analysts their opinions on this schedule to ensure it works well for everyone involved. Now, when it comes to transect walk and diagramming, the key points are procedures and examples. The process involves careful observation along the transect, recording what you see, and then translating those observations into a diagram. This diagram helps visualize the spatial relationships and patterns within the area. Remember, the goal is to gather meaningful data efficiently while fostering a collaborative discussion with local analysts. This approach ensures the transect walk is productive, and the diagram accurately reflects the area's characteristics. Connecting these steps to our overall theme, it's about building a shared understanding of the landscape through systematic observation and analysis. Today, I want to talk about the time, materials, and skills you'll need for this activity. First, you'll require large sheets of paper and markers. These are essential for drawing the diagrams clearly and making any necessary annotations. You'll also need notebooks or regular paper along with pens, so you can make copies of the diagram and for the note taker to record all the discussion and insights that come up during the diagram development. If you're planning to draw the diagram on the ground, keep in mind you'll need a large open area. Plus, gather a variety of objects like sticks, stones, leaves, seeds, or other natural items. These objects help represent different features on your diagram, making it more interactive and easier to understand. Now, moving on to the procedure itself, specifically the transect walk and diagramming. This process involves walking through the area you're studying, observing the landscape, and then creating a visual representation of what you see. It's a hands-on approach that combines observation with diagramming, making it a very effective way to understand spatial relationships. The key is to be prepared with the right materials, but also to develop the skills of observation, representation, and discussion. These skills help you capture the features accurately and engage everyone in the process. Remember, the goal is to blend visual tools with discussion to gain a deeper understanding of the environment and its features. By combining these materials, skills, and procedures, you'll be able to create meaningful diagrams that support your overall understanding and planning efforts. All right, let's talk about the time, materials, and skills needed for this part of the process. First, the group should include a facilitator, an observer or note-taker, and some local analysts who are selected for their knowledge and experience. It's important that both the facilitator and the observer are well-versed not only in the principles behind participatory tools and methods, but also in how to use them practically. This ensures that the process runs smoothly and effectively. When it comes to the transect walk and diagramming, you'll want to follow clear procedures and look at some examples to guide your work. The key points here are to be prepared and to understand the purpose behind these activities, gathering insights about the landscape, community, or environment by observing and recording features along a transect line. Having the right skills, such as facilitation, observation, and diagramming, is crucial. These skills help in capturing accurate data and engaging participants meaningfully. Connecting all this to the broader presentation theme, it's about using participatory tools to empower communities and gather local knowledge effectively. So, making sure your team is equipped with the right skills and resources is fundamental to the success of your transect walk and diagramming exercises. Let's take a look at the possible approach outlined here. This is a general example, but it's flexible enough to be adapted to different local contexts. It can also incorporate the perspectives of local analysts and align with specific research objectives. The idea is to have a framework that guides us, yet remains adaptable to the unique circumstances we might encounter. This approach helps us stay focused on our goals while allowing room for customization based on local insights. Remember, the key is to use this as a starting point and tailor it as needed to ensure it fits the specific environment we're working in. This flexibility is crucial for making our research as relevant and effective as possible. Alright, so the first step in our process is to select the local analysts. These are the people we'll talk to in order to understand their perceptions of their community and its resources. The key here is to carefully identify and choose the right groups of people based on our research objectives and how deep we want our information to be. For example, it might be very useful to interview separate groups of men and women because they often use different resources and have different perspectives. Women might highlight water sources or firewood, while men might focus more on grazing land or infrastructure. But it's not just about splitting by gender. We may also need to consider other social categories like ethnicity, caste, or well-being groups, depending on the context. The idea is to break down the population into relevant groups to get a comprehensive picture. When selecting these groups, keep in mind that each group of 5 to 10 local analysts should reflect important social divisions. This way, you ensure that the insights you gather are representative and meaningful for your overall research and community understanding. Now, let's focus on step 2, providing introductions and explanations. When you start working with each group, it's important for the facilitator and the observer or note-taker to introduce themselves first. This helps set a friendly and professional tone. Next, clearly explain the objectives of the walk and discussion. Make sure to communicate what you hope to achieve and why it matters. Remember to do this carefully and clearly so everyone understands. It's also essential to check that the local analysts understand what will be discussed and feel comfortable with the process. This ensures everyone is on the same page and confident to participate actively. The key here is to be thorough but conversational, engage with the group, highlight the most important concepts, and connect everything back to the overall theme of the presentation. This way, you help create a smooth, collaborative environment for productive discussion. Now, let's move on to step 3, doing a transect walk and producing a transect diagram. First, it's important to discuss with the local analysts the route they would like to follow during the walk. This decision can be guided by the community resource map if one has already been created. Ask the analysts to think carefully about the route. Consider covering the main variations in topography and other features they want to observe and showcase during the walk. Remember, the route doesn't have to be a straight line. It can meander if needed to better capture the different features of the area. The goal is to plan a route that gives a comprehensive view of the landscape, so take your time to choose a path that will be most effective for your objectives. This step is crucial because it helps you understand the terrain more thoroughly and prepares you for creating an accurate transect diagram later on. So, involve the team, think strategically, and plan your route to maximize the insights you'll gather during the walk. All right, now let's start walking with the local analysts from the edge of the area. As we move along, we'll pause at key features or at the borders of new zones. These could be residential areas, topographic changes, land use types, or other notable boundaries. At each stop, make sure to record the distance from the previous zone or point of interest. You can also choose to stop every 100 paces or at another interval that makes sense for your context. During these stops, engage the local analysts in discussion. Ask them to describe what they see, notice, and think is important. Encourage them to explain the key characteristics of each area or feature they encounter. Facilitate this process by asking targeted questions, similar to what you do when creating a community resource map. For example, inquire about the types of buildings, the condition of the land, or any distinctive features. Make observations yourself and record all relevant details that come up during the walk. Take notes of all vital information. This could include descriptions, observations, or even sketches if necessary. Remember, the goal here is to gather as much meaningful information as possible about the area's features and characteristics through this walk-and-talk process. This method helps us understand the landscape better and supports our overall planning and decision-making efforts. When exploring a village, it's not always necessary to follow the original planned route exactly. In fact, deviating from it can be quite beneficial. Feel free to take interesting or useful detours, or even go off course randomly. This allows you to observe the surrounding area more closely and gather valuable information that might otherwise be missed. As you walk slowly with local analysts, try to see the physical features of the village from different angles and perspectives. This helps deepen your understanding of the environment. Additionally, make a point to interview the people you meet along the way. These conversations can offer unique insights from individuals who might not have been able or felt comfortable participating in the formal activities. Often, these local perspectives, especially from marginalized groups, can reveal important nuances that shape a more complete picture of the community. Overall, this approach encourages a more flexible, open-minded exploration that enriches your understanding of the village and connects directly to our broader goal of gathering diverse, meaningful insights. Now that we've completed the transect walk, it's important to sit down with the local analysts in a suitable place. This is where we discuss and record all the information and data we've collected during our walk. One effective way to do this is by preparing an illustrative diagram of the transect walk using the details we've gathered. If we've carried out multiple transect walks, we can create a combined chart to compare the results across different areas. These diagrams can be drawn on a large sheet of paper or even directly on the ground, which helps us visualize the data clearly. At the top of the diagram, we should illustrate the different zones that the local analysts visited. Then, down the side, list headings for the various areas of interest, such as plants, land use, problems, drainage systems, and so on. Next, we fill in the details of what was observed in each zone under these headings. This approach helps us see the big picture, compare different zones, and understand the key features and issues in the area. Remember, the goal here is to synthesize the data visually, making it easier to interpret and discuss what we've learned from the walk. Now let's move on to step 4, analyzing a transect diagram. As we do this, it can be really helpful to have a list of key questions in mind. These questions will guide our discussion and help us interpret the information we gathered during the transect walk. For example, we might ask ourselves what resources are abundant in some areas but scarce in others. This helps us understand resource distribution across the landscape. We should also consider how these resources change as we move along the transect. Do they increase, decrease, or stay the same? Another important question is identifying which resources have the most problems, perhaps issues with access, quality, or sustainability. We also want to think about where people obtain water and firewood. These are crucial resources for daily life, and their locations can tell us a lot about human-environment interactions. Additionally, looking at where livestock graze helps us understand land use and potential pressures on the environment. Lastly, we should identify any constraints or problems present in different areas, like erosion, overgrazing, or other challenges, that might impact resource availability or land health. By asking these questions as we analyze the diagram, we can develop a clearer picture of the landscape and the interactions within it. which ties back to our overall goal of understanding sustainable resource management. Let's consider the possibilities and opportunities that exist in different areas. What new prospects could emerge if we think creatively about these spaces? Also, how might a proposed policy change influence the features and characteristics of these areas? For example, could it lead to more mixed-use development or improve access to services? Next, it's important to understand where different population subgroups live. Are they living in segregated neighborhoods, or are they more integrated? Do the poorest households tend to be concentrated on the edges of communities or in specific zones? If there's enough time, I suggest asking local analysts to draw diagrams that illustrate how these patterns might change over time. Seeing visual representations can really help us grasp potential trends and shifts. When multiple groups create their diagrams, it's valuable to have them present their work to each other. This encourages discussion and feedback. Are there significant disagreements or differing perspectives? If so, it's important to note these and see whether a consensus can be reached. Overall, understanding these spatial and social dynamics is crucial for designing effective policies that promote equity and sustainable development across different areas. Now, let's take a moment to check in with everyone. It's important to ensure that the analysts understand how the information we've discussed will be used in their work. So, I'd like to ask you to reflect on the advantages of this tool, what it can do well. At the same time, consider any disadvantages or limitations you might see. And don't forget to think about its full analytical potential, how it can help uncover new insights or support decision-making. This step is really about making sure we're all on the same page and that the tool is serving its purpose effectively. Finally, I want to sincerely thank each of you, our local analysts, for your time, your effort, and your engagement today. Your contributions are what make this process meaningful and successful. With that, we can move towards concluding this activity, feeling confident that everyone is clear on the next steps and the value of what we've discussed. Good facilitation skills are absolutely key to the success of any session. The approach I've outlined above is meant to serve as a general guide, but it's important to remember that you should always be flexible. Adapt the tools and methods to fit the specific local context and the needs of your participants. Keep in mind that every situation is unique, and tailoring your facilitation can make a big difference in engagement and outcomes. So the main takeaway here is to stay attentive, responsive, and adaptable throughout your facilitation process. This flexibility helps ensure that the session is relevant and effective for everyone involved. Let's take a closer look at the transect diagram in Figure 1. This diagram provides a visual overview of how resources are distributed and utilized across different zones within a household's area. These zones include the road, homestead, home garden, crop field, pond embankment, and the pond itself. What's really useful about this diagram is that it highlights not just the resources available in each zone, but also the specific usage patterns, the problems faced, and the recommendations for improvement. For example, in the homestead area, you might see certain resources that are heavily used, while in the pond zone, water management could be a key concern. This kind of detailed mapping helps us understand the complex interactions within a household's landscape and guides us toward targeted solutions. In the context of the overall presentation, it emphasizes the importance of a holistic approach when assessing resource management and sustainable practices in rural settings, like those in Bangladesh. So, by analyzing these zones through the transect diagram, we get a clearer picture of where interventions can be most effective to improve livelihoods and environmental sustainability. Let's take a closer look at Figure 1, which is a transect diagram from a household livelihood security assessment conducted in Bangladesh back in 2002. This diagram visually represents the various assets, activities, and vulnerabilities that households rely on to sustain their livelihoods. What's important here is how it illustrates the interconnectedness of different factors, such as natural resources, income sources, and social networks, all working together to shape household resilience. By understanding this diagram, we can better see how households adapt to challenges and how their livelihood strategies are influenced by both internal assets and external shocks. This ties directly into our overall theme of analyzing livelihood security, emphasizing that a comprehensive approach requires us to consider all these elements in tandem. It reminds us that improving livelihood security isn't just about one factor. It's about understanding the complex web of assets, activities, and vulnerabilities that households manage daily. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. This slide shows a diagram created from a transect walk led by female local analysts in MT, Pulag National Park, Bengt, Philippines, back in 1997. What's really interesting here is that this transect map captures so many important aspects of the landscape: land use, soil type and color, plant and animal presence, slope and elevation. It also highlights issues and opportunities within 3 different zones of the barangay or village. This kind of diagram is a powerful tool because it provides a visual overview of the environment, helping us understand how these different elements interact. It's also a great example of participatory research. Local analysts, especially women in this case, are directly involved in documenting their environment, which enhances the accuracy and relevance of the information. Overall, this transect diagram underscores the importance of local knowledge in understanding complex ecosystems. It ties into our broader theme of participatory assessment and sustainable management, showing how local insights can guide us in making better decisions for conservation and community development. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Today, I want to highlight the key contributions of our team members, Jara S. Karanagan, Jehan Graffel, Rafi Marquito, and Brian Lorito, in the area of maps and mapping. As we explore this section, it's important to understand how maps serve as essential tools for visualizing spatial information. They help us understand the layout of terrain, locations of key features, and even the relationships between different areas. Throughout this presentation, we've emphasized that effective mapping is crucial for various applications, from urban planning to environmental management. Our focus here is on how our team's work enhances these maps, making them more accurate, detailed, and useful for decision-making. Remember, maps are not just about geography. They're about storytelling, guiding us through complex data in an accessible way. This connection to the overall theme underscores the importance of precise mapping in solving real-world problems. So, let's dive deeper into how our efforts contribute to this vital field. Let's talk about maps. A map is essentially a symbolic representation of a place, which means it uses symbols and visuals to show real-world features. Usually, these are drawn on a flat surface, like paper or a screen, making it easier to visualize and understand the geography of an area. The key idea here is that maps simplify complex landscapes by highlighting selected characteristics, so we can focus on what's most important or relevant. This makes maps not just about showing every detail, but about conveying specific information clearly. In the context of our overall theme, maps are powerful tools that help us explore and analyze spatial relationships, making them fundamental in geography and many other fields. Now, let's take a closer look at the types of maps that are especially useful for travelers and visitors. First up, we have the street map. This kind of map is fantastic because it shows detailed street layouts, making it easy to navigate through a city or neighborhood. It helps you find your way from point A to point B with clarity and precision. Next, we have the tourist map. These maps are designed with the traveler in mind. They highlight popular attractions, landmarks, and points of interest. They're usually simplified and visually appealing, making it easier to plan your sightseeing adventures without getting overwhelmed by too much detail. Finally, we come to general reference maps. These are more versatile. They provide a broad overview of an area and are particularly helpful when you need to orient yourself or understand the general layout of a city or region. The key thing to remember about these maps is that they're easy to read, which makes them ideal for helping you reach your destination efficiently. In the context of our overall presentation, understanding these map types ensures you're equipped with the right tools for navigation, whether you're exploring a new city or just trying to find your way around. Let's take a look at topographical maps. These maps really stand out from other types because they show detailed elevation information. What makes them unique are the contour lines, which help us visualize the landscape's shape and elevation changes. By understanding these lines, we can get a clear sense of the terrain's ups and downs, which is especially useful for planning outdoor activities, construction, or environmental studies. Overall, topographical maps give us a comprehensive view of the land's physical features, making them an essential tool in various fields. Let's talk about thematic maps. These are specialized maps designed to highlight information on specific topics, making complex data much more accessible. Instead of just showing geographic features, they focus on particular themes or variables, like population density, climate zones, or economic activity. This helps us see patterns and relationships that might not be obvious on a standard map. In the context of our overall presentation, thematic maps are crucial because they allow us to visualize data in a way that supports decision-making and deeper understanding. They turn raw data into visual stories, helping us connect the dots more effectively. So, when you think about thematic maps, remember that their main goal is to emphasize what's most relevant to the topic at hand, making information clearer and more engaging. Let's take a look at navigation charts. These are fascinating because they combine different types of maps, topographic, general reference, and thematic maps, into a single, useful tool. Their main purpose is to serve as navigation aids for ships, boats, and aircraft. What's really important here is understanding how these charts help travelers by providing crucial information about the terrain, water depths, hazards, and other features that are essential for safe navigation. By integrating these aspects, navigation charts offer a comprehensive view of the environment, making them indispensable for anyone moving across water or air. They connect directly to our broader theme of map types and their practical applications, especially in ensuring safety and efficiency in navigation. Let's take a closer look at cadastral maps and plans. These maps are much more detailed than general maps because they focus specifically on individual properties. They provide precise information about boundaries, which is crucial when surveying houses or land. This level of detail helps in accurately defining property lines and resolving disputes. By understanding cadastral maps, we gain a clearer picture of land ownership and the spatial relationships between different properties. This is an essential part of land management and planning, tying into the overall theme of how we organize and utilize our land resources. Now let's take a closer look at cadastral maps and plans. These are fundamental tools in land management and surveying. They essentially serve as detailed representations of land parcels, showing boundaries, ownership, and other key features. Cadastral maps are crucial because they provide the legal description of land, which is essential for ownership rights, transactions, and land development. When we talk about cadastral plans, we're referring to the detailed drawings that illustrate these maps with precise measurements and boundary lines. These plans help prevent disputes and ensure clarity in land division and use. They also connect directly to our overall theme of land administration and management, as accurate cadastral data underpins effective planning, taxation, and resource management. So, in essence, cadastral maps and plans are the backbone of land record systems. They ensure transparency, accuracy, and legal certainty in land dealings. Let's start by understanding what we mean by mapping. Essentially, it's the act or process of making a map, which helps us visualize spatial information clearly. Now, moving on to sieve mapping. This is a more specialized technique where we map and analyze constraints and opportunity areas. It allows us to identify the best locations by systematically filtering through options based on various criteria. Finally, we have suitability analysis, which is used in GIS to determine the most appropriate site or location for a specific purpose. It's a powerful tool that helps us make informed decisions by evaluating multiple factors to find the optimal spot. These concepts are all about helping us analyze space more effectively and make smarter planning choices. Let's take a closer look at the Forest Land Use Plan. Essentially, this plan serves as a management tool that helps us establish clear accountabilities. It's designed to ensure that everyone involved understands their roles and responsibilities when it comes to forest resources. More importantly, it promotes responsible and sustainable forest management practices. By having a solid plan in place, we can balance the needs of development with the preservation of our forest ecosystems. This plan is a key part of the overall approach to sustainable resource management because it provides a structured framework. It guides us in making informed decisions that benefit both the environment and the communities that depend on these forests. In the bigger picture, the Forest Land Use Plan helps us stay accountable and committed to responsible stewardship of our forest resources, ensuring they remain healthy and productive for generations to come. Now, let's take a look at the levels and planning of output. Starting with the regional level, the goal here is to develop a regional forest land use framework plan. This plan serves as a broad guide that outlines the primary forest land uses across different provinces within the region. Think of it as a high-level map that helps us understand where different types of forest activities should be prioritized or managed. Moving down to the provincial level, the focus shifts to operationalizing that regional framework plan. In other words, provinces take the broader guidelines and translate them into specific actions and plans that fit their local contexts. This is where strategic planning becomes more detailed and tailored to local needs, ensuring that the regional vision is effectively implemented on the ground. Connecting these points to our overall theme, it's important to see how these levels work together in a cohesive planning process. The regional plan provides the big picture, setting the direction, while the provincial plans make sure that this direction is practical and actionable locally. This layered approach ensures that forest management is both strategic and adaptable across different areas. Let's talk about the municipal level now. At this stage, we see that validation by the concerned municipality for protection and production areas has actually declined at the provincial level. This means that the local authorities are taking a more active role in reviewing and confirming these areas. One key point here is the identification of conflict areas within the municipality itself. Recognizing where conflicts arise helps us target specific issues and find effective solutions. Next, there's the resolution of areas that include outstanding issues not settled at the provincial level. This is crucial because it shows that the municipality is stepping in to address unresolved matters, ensuring that all concerns are managed locally. We also see subclassification of production forests, which allows for a more detailed categorization of forest types based on their use or protection status. This helps in managing forests more effectively and aligning them with local needs. Finally, there's the integration of the final municipal forest land uses into the municipal land use and zoning plan. This step ensures that forest land uses are fully incorporated into broader land planning efforts, promoting sustainable and organized development at the local level. Altogether, these points highlight how municipal involvement is essential for refining, resolving, and implementing forest land use plans, supporting the overall goal of sustainable forest management. Today, I will be presenting the members who contributed to this project, led by myself, Renalyn Lumagbas. Our team also includes James Paul Lejanio, Shane John Lacandazzo, Raul Lapata, and Maria Marilu Garado. The focus of this slide is on maps and mapping, which plays a crucial role in our overall presentation. Maps and mapping are fundamental tools that help us visualize spatial information, making complex data much easier to understand. They allow us to see relationships, patterns, and geographic distributions at a glance. This is especially important in our project because it helps us analyze locations and their connections more effectively. Throughout our work, we've emphasized the importance of accurate mapping to support decision-making and planning. Good maps not only convey information clearly, but also enhance our ability to communicate findings to others. In the bigger picture, maps serve as a bridge between raw data and meaningful insights. They are essential in presenting our research visually and making our conclusions more impactful. So, as we move forward, remember that effective mapping is key to translating data into knowledge that drives better understanding and action. A map is a symbolic representation of selected characteristics of a place, usually drawn on a flat surface. It presents information about the world in a simple, visual way. When we look at a map, we're seeing certain features of an area, often focusing on the physical properties of Earth's surface and how people relate to their environment. Maps help us understand the sizes and shapes of countries, the locations of important features, and the distances between places. They are a powerful tool for teaching us about the world around us by turning complex geography into clear, visual information. This makes it easier to grasp spatial relationships and navigate our environment effectively. So, what is mapping? Well, simply put, it is the act or operation of making a map or maps. This means taking real-world data, locations, or information and translating it into a visual format that we can understand and analyze. Mapping is fundamental because it helps us visualize spatial relationships, patterns, and features. Whether we're talking about geographic maps, digital maps, or even conceptual maps, the core idea remains the same: creating a visual representation of data. Throughout this presentation, you'll see how mapping plays a crucial role in various fields, from navigation to urban planning, and even in data analysis. It's really about turning complex information into something accessible and useful. So, whenever you hear about mapping, think of it as the process of crafting these visual tools that help us make sense of the world around us. This map illustrates a section of the statewide Tasmanian Land Use Mapping spatial layer. As you can see, it provides a detailed view of how different areas are designated for various land uses across the state. This kind of spatial layer is essential because it helps us understand the distribution of natural resources, urban development, agriculture, and conservation areas. By analyzing this map, we can identify patterns and trends in land use, which are critical for planning and sustainable management. Remember, this map is just a portion of the entire statewide layer, but it highlights the importance of detailed spatial data in making informed decisions about land use planning and environmental protection here in Tasmania. Let's take a closer look at some of the key features that make a map useful. First, the border helps define the edge of the map, giving us a clear boundary so we know where the map starts and ends. Next, the orientation, usually shown with a north arrow, tells us which way is north, ensuring the map aligns correctly with the real world. Then, there's the legend or key. This is crucial because it explains what the symbols on the map mean, helping us interpret the information accurately. The title is also important. It tells us what the map is showing, like Canterbury or another specific area. And finally, the scale helps us understand distances, like how 1 centimeter on the map might equal 1 kilometer in real life. Remember the acronym BOLTS. These 5 features are the core elements that make a map functional and easy to understand. By paying attention to these, we can better interpret any map we come across and see how they fit into the bigger picture of geography and navigation. Cartographers are the people who create maps, and cartography is both an art and a science. It's about how we make those maps. Did you know that over 4,000 years ago, the Babylonians drew maps on clay tablets? They also used materials like leather, stone, and wood. But today, the most common medium for making maps is paper, although now almost all maps are produced on computers using specialized software like GIS or Geographic Information Systems. The process of making maps starts with collecting data, information about the Earth's surface. Early map makers, often sailors or explorers, recorded what they saw during their journeys. To create accurate maps, they relied on land surveying techniques, triangulation, and careful observation. Surveyors, the professionals who take precise measurements of the Earth's surface, play a crucial role in this process. Today, we have advanced tools like aerial photography and satellites that provide incredibly accurate data. This modern method of collecting information from above is called remote sensing. It's remarkable how technology has transformed cartography from manual recording on clay tablets to sophisticated digital mapping, helping us better understand and navigate our world. Here we have a fascinating example of ancient cartography, a Babylonian clay tablet featuring a map from Nippur, dating back to roughly 1500 to 1155 BCE. What's remarkable about this artifact is that it shows us how the Babylonians visualized their world. These maps weren't just geographical tools, they offer insights into how they understood their environment, their surroundings, and perhaps even their spiritual or cultural worldview. It's important to recognize that this is one of the earliest attempts at mapping, illustrating the significance of geography in their daily lives and governance. By examining these early maps, we can trace the development of spatial awareness and how humans have long sought to make sense of the world around them, an ongoing theme that connects to the broader story of human civilization's quest for knowledge and understanding. Digital technology has really transformed how we present maps. It allows us to showcase maps in different ways, whether through interactive digital maps or online platforms, making them accessible to a much wider audience than ever before. This shift means that more people can explore and understand geographic information easily. For example, here you see an old provincial map of Otago. This type of map was once the primary way to understand the region's geography, but it had limitations in terms of accessibility and detail. Today, digital technology enables us to recreate and share such maps in more dynamic, interactive formats. This not only preserves historical information, but also makes it more engaging and useful for diverse audiences. So, this example underscores how technology has expanded the reach and utility of maps, connecting us more deeply to our history and our environment. It's an important part of how mapping and geographic information are evolving in our digital age. Today, Google Maps is the world's most popular online mapping system. In addition to providing detailed maps, it also offers travel route directions. Whether you're driving, taking public transportation, walking, cycling, or even flying, Google Maps can create tailored directions for each mode of travel. Google has another amazing product called Google Earth, which allows users to view streets, roads, and satellite images all within a single interface. It's a free download that you can install on your computer, and it fetches images directly from the Google Earth servers. This interconnected suite of mapping tools really highlights how Google has revolutionized the way we navigate and explore our world, making it easier and more accessible for everyone. Topographic maps are reference maps that show the shape of Earth's surface. They usually do this with lines of equal elevation, which are called contour lines. These lines help us understand the terrain's elevation changes and landforms. Elevation can also be represented using different methods, such as colors, color gradients, shaded relief, and more. These techniques make it easier to visualize the landscape and grasp the topography at a glance. Overall, topographic maps are essential tools for understanding the geography and physical features of an area, connecting to the broader theme of how we interpret and navigate the Earth's surface. Let's take a moment to look at what zip code maps are. Essentially, these maps show the approximate boundaries of zip code areas, which are used by the United States Postal Service to organize mail delivery. They give us a visual sense of how zip codes are distributed geographically across regions. Usually, you'll see these boundaries overlaid on a base map that displays roads and streets within the zip code area. This helps us understand not just the boundaries, but also how the zip codes relate to actual streets and neighborhoods. This kind of mapping is really useful for various applications, from delivery planning to demographic analysis. Overall, zip code maps are a key tool in spatial analysis, helping us visualize and understand the geographic organization of postal areas. People use an incredible number of weather maps to understand and predict the weather. These maps serve a variety of purposes, from showing predicted temperatures to indicating where precipitation might occur. They also include storm warnings of various kinds, helping us stay safe. Wind speed and direction are another key aspect, which can be crucial for everything from aviation to sailing. Additionally, weather maps show the chance of precipitation, whether it's rain, snow, or other types, along with snow accumulation estimates. Frost prediction is also important, especially for agriculture and gardening. Overall, weather maps are versatile tools that help us visualize many different aspects of the weather. They connect the dots between complex data and practical information we need daily. Whether we're planning outdoor activities, preparing for storms, or just curious about the weather, these maps provide essential insights. They really illustrate how detailed and dynamic weather forecasting can be, making it easier for us to understand and respond to the environment around us. Plate tectonics is a fascinating branch of the geological sciences that focuses on how Earth's lithospheric plates move and interact. These plates are constantly shifting, and their interactions are responsible for many dynamic processes on our planet. When plates move and collide or pull apart, they can cause earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and even the formation of mountains. They're also involved in creating new lithosphere and breaking down old, worn-out sections. Most of these activities happen at the boundaries where these plates meet. Understanding these boundaries and how the plates interact helps us grasp the bigger picture of Earth's geological activity, which is central to this entire presentation. Now, let's take a look at some plate tectonics maps to see these concepts in action. Physical maps are designed to showcase Earth's natural landscape features. They are especially known for illustrating topography, which is often represented through colors or shaded relief to give a sense of elevation and terrain. When you look at a physical map, you'll notice a color scheme that typically ranges from green to brown to gray. This gradient helps us understand land elevation at a glance. The darker greens usually indicate areas near sea level, where the land is relatively flat or low-lying. As the elevation increases, the colors shift into tans and browns, showing higher terrain or hills. And for the highest elevations, the color gradient often ends in shades of gray, representing mountain peaks and rugged terrain. This use of color helps us quickly interpret the landscape's natural features and elevation changes, making physical maps a valuable tool for understanding the Earth's topography in a visual and intuitive way. Let's take a closer look at the crocodilian species range. As you can see on the map, these fascinating creatures are primarily found in specific regions around the world. Understanding their range helps us appreciate where they naturally live and how they fit into their ecosystems. Now, when it comes to reading maps like this, the key is to pay attention to the lines. These boundaries show us the limits of their habitats. Sometimes the lines are clear, but other times they might be more approximate, indicating areas of uncertainty or transitional zones. Creating accurate maps involves gathering reliable data, whether through field observations, satellite images, or other sources. It's crucial to consider the scale and detail. More detailed maps give us a better picture, but can be more complex to produce. And speaking of maps, choosing the right projection is essential. Different projections serve different purposes. Some preserve area, others maintain shape, and some minimize distortion in distance or direction. Selecting the best projection for your needs ensures that the information is as accurate and useful as possible. This ties back to our overall theme. Whether we're studying species ranges or creating maps for navigation or research, understanding how to read, create, and choose the right map projection is fundamental. It helps us interpret spatial data accurately and make informed decisions based on that information. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I truly appreciate the opportunity to share these insights with you. Remember, the key takeaways from this presentation highlight the importance of collaboration, innovation, and adaptability in achieving our goals. I hope you found the information useful and inspiring to apply in your own work. If you have any questions or want to discuss further, please feel free to reach out. Once again, thank you for being here and for your engagement throughout this session.